Hey everybody, welcome to GuitarsOK. I'm your host Mac, and we're returning today for a series that we started recently called Tones from the Road with a returning guest, Tom. So welcome back to the show, Tom. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing really well, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. Tom, tell everybody where you're at right now.
I am in a very cold Minneapolis, Minnesota right now.
Ooh, it's Arctic right now, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's I went out. It was like -4 when I went out this morning. So I know it's not balmy in Oklahoma by any standards, but I would take that over this.
Yeah, I hear you, buddy. So this series right now, Tones from the Road, is all about all the musician friends of mine that are out traveling, and they're just kind of touching base with us right now and
Yeah,
giving viewers the experience from being on the road. So you like to travel from our recent, talks before.
yeah,
So tell everybody something. What's one thing you look forward to while you're traveling?
yeah. I mean, you know, getting paid to play the guitar is something I will never ever take for granted or get sick of. And so I always the way I really look at it, like when I'm on the road, is that you know, people are paying, when a place pays me to come play, they're paying me to travel, they're paying me to set up, paying me to tear down. What I get to do when I play the guitar is wonderful, And so I look forward to that. The other thing, this has been a really special trip for me. I record my EP in Minneapolis. I have a handful of really good friends up here, and so I was actually able to stay at the studio. They have a bedroom here, and I was able to stay here, which is a really wonderful creative space. I play a lot of guitar, a lot of beautiful guitars this week that are around the studio. I was able to have lunch with who I think is probably the greatest acoustic slide player I've ever heard, Tom Feldman, who has a huge online lessons presence with PlayCountryBlues.com. He's been a kind of a mentor and friend of mine for a long time. I was able to have lunch with him, and so I would say, playing the guitar and connecting with people, and I truly love meeting the people I meet at venues and things like that.
So Tom, tell everybody about when you travel, are you taking a lighter like rig? Are you traveling? Are you the type of person that travels with the same rig as when you play locally? How do you do that?
I do, so and a lot of what I do is like split. So I had two venue shows on this trip, and then two like like brewery shows. And so for the venue shows, my setup is always the same for that kind of thing. So I run I actually have a brand new pickup in my acoustic guitar that I've just made the switch to an LR Baggs Lyric, which I know I know this can be a little more electric focused as far as like technology and things like that go. But if you're an acoustic player, the LR Baggs Lyric has really I moved from a K and K to that. So I will just go direct from that into usually whatever DI they have. I have a DI, but a lot of venues, if they're running my sound, it's an active pickup. They know their equipment, so I just plug into what they do and they EQ it. And then when I play, what I do is I have a Fishman loud box, which is really kind of standard for a lot of musicians, and I use that as either my monitor. If I'm playing a small enough place, it can use it as just my PA. And even at like a venue show, sometimes I'll DI out from that and use that as my monitor so that I can blast the sound on stage however I want to. So the rig is very similar. Then I have a powered speaker. If I'm playing a venue that needs a little more oomph, I'll use my monitor, DI out to that powered speaker.
So that makes sense. Yeah, everything you're talking about kind of seems the same as what you kind of do around
It
here in the
is, yeah.
Tulsa area.
Sorry, I could have probably answered that a lot
It's all
more
right.
succinctly, but yeah, pretty much the same as what I use everywhere.
So yeah, you don't take like some guys. I was talking to Adam Miller in Australia. So when he travels to America, he brings only one or two guitars, not five. And of course, he's traveling through airplane. But you're the type of guy like me. You're always out and about in your car and your vehicle.
Yeah.
You're showing sunsets on your Facebook page and
Yep.
everything.
Yep.
And so you have the ability, you have the room then in your vehicle, obviously, to put in whatever, basically whatever you want, just like showing up around town.
Yeah, it is. And and I'm traveling with just one guitar right now. I have my Iris. And I only have I have two guitars and I have a backup, like a real backup that I'd be in tough shape if I had to use, but I could do it. I've kind of condensed my guitar collection. Right now where I'm at in my life, they're tools. They're what I'm using to pay the bills, and I'm very lucky. They're nice guitars, but someday I'll have some things that I can just you know fancy
So
ones for around the house.
So tell everybody, Brandon Autry was on this series already, and he has like a routine kind of thing where he likes to get sleep at night when he's out touring with David Lee Murphy Band and all them. And so for him, sleep is king, and he
Yeah.
likes to get up in the morning, have his coffee, and play guitar for a while. How
Yep.
important are those type of circadian rhythms to you when you're out traveling?
They're very important. I think, when you're on stage playing guitar, even if it's for an hour or two, like it is being on like that takes a lot out of you, and what the routine he described, I would say, is not dissimilar to mine. I actually bring all my own food with me too, so I pack a cooler, both from a like an economic standpoint. When I'm on the road, I'm trying to spend as little as possible and get home with as much money as possible. So like, but same thing. Like I'm very lucky. I had a place to stay. Sometimes I'll stay in hotels. I try to exercise as much as I can on the road. So I ran yesterday. I try to stay in a similar routine as I can at home. The one difference being my mornings definitely start later. At home I have 5-year-olds who have to get to school by 7:20, so I'm up early. Here, I'll sleep in till 8 or so and kind of start that routine because I'm playing sometimes much later at night than driving late at night.
So keeping in those rhythms, keeping on it. So you getting up and playing guitar, then tweaking things. Are you working
Yep.
on songs and melodies and improvs and all that kind of stuff? Are you doing all that during the day, preparing?
Absolutely. I actually just recently started, like, I have a guitar routine I do every morning, like a 15-minute like warm up thing. I've gotten to the point where my fingers just need that each day. I can't just pick it up and start playing. And so I do that, and yeah, I'll actually sometimes have to put the guitar down because I do think there is a limit to what my fingers will handle if I'm playing 2 hours that night. And I'm someone that would noodle on things all day, and I will run through my set multiple times, but I actually try not to. I try to put the guitar down at a certain point.
Well, that's good. You're wise enough right now at this stage in your life to assess your own physical limitations, your emotional limitations. You already addressed that because when you're up on stage, it's taxing emotionally, intellectually, physically. And so you don't want to, drain yourself before you get up on stage, it sounds like. So I give you kudos because you are definitely one of the guys I love talking to because you are in it to win it. You are in it for the journey. And so you're one of the musicians, like so many that I love, that it just pours out of you. So like you just confess the
Well,
fact that
thank you.
you could just play all day. So you just got to limit yourself a little
Oh,
bit.
it would, and I think, for me, this is something newer for me. I mean, I was a long time just living room guitar player, open mic guitar player, which and the thing for me is, like, I feel incredibly blessed and fortunate right now to be making an income playing the guitar. But if I wasn't, I would still, I still go to open mics. If I have a night off, I will go to I love to play the guitar. I love to be around other musicians. I love to people were so good to me when I was figuring out what I want to do and what I wanted to be, that if in any small way I can pay that forward, I'll do that. And I do think that, like, if you're given the opportunity, like I have been given, and that I've, you know, maybe taken even more than given, like I've been, I think you owe it to yourself. I'm glad it's happened to me at 38 and not 28 is what I'll say. I think how I would respond and how I would take care of myself would be a little different, but I think I owe it to whoever is signing that check, whether one person or 30 or 40 people show up. I got to give it to them.
Yeah, you're gonna bring it, aren't you? It doesn't matter who it is.
Always,
Yeah,
always.
I love it. Guys like Ariel Posen and
Oh
stuff.
yeah.
Them guys, they just like, there's rumors of them where there's 25 people at a show a few years ago, and he just got down in front of the people and brought them up on stage even and everything just to give them a 20-person show. He's going to give it. And that's how you are too. So here's, as we're going to close on a short episode here, let's take a few minutes and give some
I have like
advice.
I got like 10 minutes,
All
Sean. So
right, great.
yeah.
All right, we'll stretch out a little bit. So here's the thing is if somebody's looking at going on the road right now, their guitar player, their
Yeah.
solo act, maybe they sit in kind of like you, they sit in with other people or other people might sit in with them. What would be some advice you'd give them? Maybe a couple of main points. They're at their house here in T-Town. They're
Sure.
looking around, they're watching this episode, listening to it, and they're thinking, okay, I'm getting ready to hit Kansas City. I'm getting ready to hit Indiana, whatever, and I'm going to be coming back. So from the words from Tom, what type of advice would you give them?
I mean, I think there's a couple different angles to look at it. You know, I'll give the advice from like what I try to do to be good every day, which I kind of gave, you know, which is like, you got to take care of yourself. Certainly when you get to a certain age too. I think it's a little different when you're younger. I would say the other thing is like, you have to figure out a way to make it work economically for you. And, you know, you deserve to earn a living as a musician. Like you don't, you know, and it's a risk. You're not going to get rich off this, but there is a way to do it. And I think that for me, you know, I I bring my own food. I use hotel credit cards to my absolute advantage. You know, I you know, I will sleep in my car on occasion in the summer in select circumstances if I'm trying to get one place to another. You know, but I would say that that's a rarity. And for me, um, you know, using like the hotel credit cards, I think in my mind, in most instances, I'm like, I can earn that money back with tips and things by putting on a better show if I get a good night's sleep and get some exercise and take good care of myself, you know. And I'm in a very fortunate position, you know. I have to earn an income, but I also, you know, I have a wife who gives me benefit. You know, I have health benefits, and you know, there are absolutely things that help me and wind at my back. And so I would say that to someone who is just going out to do it, one, I would say that you take care of yourself, do it as economically as possible. You don't want to come home with $50 in your pocket. You know, you want, and there is a way to do that. And I think that I would say one thing I had to learn is like, to the point, like the Ariel Posen point is like, you don't know who the two people in the crowd are. You don't know who they are. And for anybody, in my opinion, for anybody to go out of their way in the busy lives we all have, for, whether it's one person, you know, and I was lucky. I played some of the larger crowds I've played here. I drew about 50 people the other night, which for me is a really good, it's a really good crowd for me, you know, to come out and see me play. You know, you owe it to give them their all, and you just don't know who's going to be in that audience.
So I hear you're saying plan ahead, right?
Yep.
You're saying plan ahead. You got your food, your finances, right? And you probably have like extra set of strings and stuff, maybe like
Oh
that, and
yeah. Oh yeah.
backup
Yeah.
equipment. So
Yep.
planning ahead before you head out, right? Knowing how you're going to handle your
Yep.
finances, right?
Yep.
Knowing how you're going to handle your food, knowing how you're going to handle your fitness. So those are like
Yes.
three F's right there of the traveling, right? The finance, food, and the
That's really
fitness.
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Food,
So
fitness. I would say those are key things. Yeah.
and then obviously the other part of it is no matter where you go, and I'm just hearing what you're saying and restating it, is to appreciate where you're
Oh
at,
yeah.
no matter. So enjoy the journey on the way to where you're going, is a saying always told my kids. So, you know, so have peace with the point that you're at right now on the way to where you're going. So just sounds like you really appreciate it. And that's good advice to tell people, because I think a lot of people nowadays, whether they're starting a YouTube channel and they just think they're going to get 10 million followers right away and they quit, or if they're going to show up at a venue and they get frustrated, right? Because, you know, you're out there playing for people, but just appreciate it, because there might be one person at the bar and one bartender. And I've been there. I've been that guy at the
Yeah.
bar watching, cheering people on.
And for the vast majority of us, the way you build this is person by person, not in groups of tens or twenties, unfortunately, you know. And there's going to be moments, you know, and I have them all the time. I can't lie. Like when I was loading my car on Monday morning and it was 1 degree in Tulsa and it's pitch black and I got a 10-hour drive to get to Minneapolis to play, that morale's low, you know. And so you gotta lean into the good parts. You know, this was a great stretch, but I'm about to go tonight. I'm driving to Ames, Iowa to play, so about 3 hours, and then I have to drive 3 hours after that show to find a hotel, you know, somewhere around Kansas City, so that I can get myself to Oklahoma City, but for a 2 o'clock gig tomorrow, and then back to Tulsa for an 8 o'clock gig. And like the reality is, if you want to do this and make a living, those are the days you're going to have, which is why I would say it's important to take care of yourself, because it's, you know, though, you know, you get the days where you're like, I get to have lunch with friends, hang out and go play the gig. And then you have days like that where you're spending a couple hours playing guitar and 9 hours driving, sleeping 4 or 5 hours, and getting right back on the road.
So I hear prepare, preservation, and performance, and enjoy
Yeah,
it.
I love it.
So I'm just
Love it.
the teacher in me and the coach in me is coming out. You miss 100% of
Yeah.
the shots you never take, Tom. Get out there and shoot.
Yeah, it's
That's
true. Yeah.
I'm a soccer coach. So, anyways, but so Tom, as we're wrapping up, what's the best way for people to get a hold of you? Because if they see this and they have questions for you,
Oh yeah.
what's the best way?
You can. I'm Instagram is probably if you're going to go on social media, that's probably the way I'm best at responding to. I have Facebook. I'm on, you can check out my music on Spotify. I'm really good at Instagram. I really enjoy, for all the ills of social media at times, and there are certainly plenty of them. I do think one of the things I love is that I love posting what I'm doing, the journey I'm on. I love seeing other people's journey too. And so I think that is one of the most beautiful things about it. So you can follow along there. I also have a website. Just email me. I'd be happy to help anyone who is interested in doing the kind of thing I'm doing with anything I can.
Do you give lessons or anything like that, Tom?
I do give lessons. Yes, I do lessons. I have a handful of students. I kind of do them in two ways. One is if you're interested in kind of, I play fingerstyle guitar. If you're interested in learning specific songs, like in that kind of Merle Travis, Mississippi John Hurt kind of style, I can do that. I do a lot of like fretboard knowledge stuff. And then I do a lot of stuff where I help people. They'll bring me kind of their songs. And for people who are solo performers who want to kind of flesh out their arrangements and add some dynamics and things, we do a lot of work around that.
Sounds good, Tom. Hey, man, is there anybody you want to give a shout out to? Just think about that for a second as I close up, and then we'll stay on the line for another quick second. So
Yeah,
thanks everybody for tuning in to Guitars Oklahoma, GuitarsOK, and hit the subscribe button, hit the bell. And Tom, thanks for being on the show today. Who would you like to give a shout out to?
yeah, absolutely. I'd love to give a shout out to my buddy Mark Stockert, who runs Underwood Recording Studios here in Minneapolis, and was so gracious and giving me a place to stay. And then also, to you, Sean. I mean, I really appreciate being thought of while I'm out on the road and having this opportunity to chat with you.
All right, thanks, buddy. I appreciate it, big guy.
Yeah, you got it, man. Take good care.
Hey, Tom, be careful, man, and I'll catch you when you come back to T-Town, and I look forward to seeing them posts. All right, buddy?
Sounds good, buddy. Take care.
Thanks, man.
Bye.
Bye.